Hello, and welcome to Day by Day True Crime Stories, the podcast where we explore a different crime or justice milestone from this day in history. I'm your host, Kona Gallagher, and today is May 10th. On this day in 2020, Suzanne Morphew, a beloved wife and mother of two, was reported missing from her home in Chaffee County, Colorado. It was Mother's Day, a day that was typically filled with celebration and appreciation. But instead of flowers and breakfast in bed, Suzanne's family was plunged into a nightmare. First, the theory is that she had gone for a bike ride and had gotten hurt or lost. But as evidence surfaced, a darker possibility began to take shape. Suzanne's disappearance was no accident. Today, we'll revisit the life of Suzanne Morphew, the massive search that followed her disappearance, and the long-awaited discovery that has brought some answers, but not closure. Let's get started. Suzanne Renee Morphew was born on April 30th, 1971 in Alexandria, Indiana. Friends and family described her as warm, generous, and full of life. In her 20s, she battled Hodgkin's lymphoma, a fight that she won. That strength became a defining trait. She married her high school sweetheart, Barry Morphew, and together they raised two daughters, Mallory and Macy. The family moved from Indiana to Salida, Colorado in 2018, drawn by the stunning mountains and Barry's landscaping business. Suzanne, a former school teacher, was deeply invested in her daughters and involved in her community. But behind closed doors, things weren't so idyllic. By 2020, Suzanne was reconnecting with a high school acquaintance, and their relationship turned romantic. Their messages to each other revealed her unhappiness in her marriage. On May 8th, 2 days before she disappeared, Suzanne sent a text to Barry telling him that she was done. She wanted a separation, but he never responded. Then, on May 10th, 2020, Mother's Day, Barry later told investigators that he left their home at 5 a.m. to drive to Broomfield, Colorado for a last-minute landscaping job. According to him, Suzanne was still asleep when he left. Around 8 a.m., Suzanne's phone stopped transmitting data. Her daughters, who were away on a camping trip, began texting to wish her Happy Mother's Day, but she didn't respond. Growing concerned, they contacted their father, who said that he thought Suzanne had gone for a bike ride. By early afternoon, they asked for a neighbor to check on Suzanne. Her car was still in the garage, but her bike was gone, and there was no sign of her. Barry returned home around 9 p.m. that evening, and that night he reported Suzanne missing. Search efforts began immediately. That night, sheriff's deputies found her bike down at the bottom of a steep ravine off of County Road 225. At first glance, it appeared that she might have crashed, but the scene lacked key signs of an accident. No blood, no skid marks, and no broken branches. The bike itself also wasn't damaged. And then, days later, her helmet was discovered nearly a mile away in a field. The situation just didn't add up. Suzanne's hydration pack, phone, and sunglasses were all missing. Her purse and ID were untouched back at home. As search crews combed through the forest with dogs, drones, and divers, investigators began to suspect foul play. Authorities quickly focused in on the Morphew household. Surveillance footage from a nearby home showed Suzanne sitting in a sunlit room texting on May 9th. That message? It was to her secret lover, Jeff Libler. Investigators also pulled GPS and telemetry data from Barry's truck. It revealed multiple odd movements in the early morning hours of May 10th. At 2:45 a.m., his truck door opened. At 3:25, he backed down the driveway. And he left home just before 5 a.m. Cell tower data from Barry's phone showed him moving around their home between 4 and 5 a.m., not asleep like he had claimed. And then there were the trash runs. On the way to Broomfield, Barry was caught on surveillance cameras disposing of items in 5 different dumpsters across 2 counties. When questioned later, he claimed that he couldn't remember what he had thrown out. Back at the Morphew home, a tranquilizer dart cap was found in the dryer. Now, Barry was known to tranquilize deer, and investigators speculated whether he'd used similar tools for a more sinister purpose. As circumstantial evidence piled up, a theory emerged. Barry discovered Suzanne's affair. He killed her early that morning and staged her disappearance. On May 5th, 2021, just days before the one-year anniversary of Suzanne's disappearance, Suzanne Morphew was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, tampering with a human body, tampering with evidence, and attempting to influence a public servant. The 129-page affidavit was a roadmap of digital evidence: suspicious vehicle data, untruthful interviews, phone data gaps, and Google searches. Barry pleaded not guilty to the charges, and his daughter stood by him. As the trial neared in 2022, prosecutors faced setbacks. The defense accused them of withholding evidence, including the discovery of unidentified male DNA on Susan's glove box, DNA that was linked to a profile in the National CODIS database. Prosecutors argued that it was unrelated, but the defense called it exculpatory. In April 2022, the judge dismissed the case without prejudice. Without a body and with procedural issues looming, the DA's office chose not to risk a mistrial, and Barry was released. For more than 3 years, Suzanne's disappearance haunted Colorado. Then, on September 22, 2023, contractors with the Colorado Department of Transportation made a chilling discovery. While working near County Road 46 in Saguache County, roughly 50 miles south of the Morphew home, they unearthed human remains in a shallow grave. Dental records confirmed it was Suzanne Morphew. Her remains were found without clothing or belongings. The grave had been hastily dug in rocky, isolated soil. Toxicology results revealed the presence of succinylcholine, a paralytic agent commonly used in veterinary tranquilizers. This lined up with the early suspicions about the dark cat that was found in the dryer. While a definitive cause of death could not be determined due to decomposition, the medical examiner did rule it a homicide. Despite the discovery of Suzanne's remains and the toxicology findings, no new charges have been filed against Barry Morphew. The DA's office says that they're reviewing new evidence and have not ruled out further action. In the meantime, Barry is suing Chaffee County officials for $15 million, alleging wrongful arrest and malicious prosecution. His lawyers argue that prosecutors built their case around assumptions, ignored critical DNA evidence, and failed to investigate other leads. Suzanne's brother, Andy Mormon, has remained vocal throughout the ordeal. He organized private searches and repeatedly criticized what he viewed as narrow thinking by law enforcement. Quote, "We just want justice for Suzanne. That's all we've ever wanted." End quote. Suzanne Morphew's story has struck a chord with people across the country. She wasn't just a name in a headline. She was a mother, a sister, a friend. She was a woman who was trying to find her voice again. And while her body has finally been found, her story isn't over. Prosecutors say that the investigation is ongoing. Her family still hopes that justice is within reach. For now, Suzanne is home. Her loved ones have a place to grieve. But they, along with the community, also continue to wait, hoping for answers and holding on to the belief that the truth will not stay buried forever. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Day by Day True Crime Stories. If you found Suzanne's story compelling, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. It'll help us grow. And be sure to join me again tomorrow as we explore another significant event in true crime history. Until then, stay safe and remember that behind every headline is a life worth remembering. Day by Day True Crime Stories is a Little Monster production.
Hey, you can do it!